All right, guys, it's Tim Miller from the Bulwark. As part of my contract with you, there's going to be so much troubling, negative, alarming news out there. I'm trying to bring you occasionally, from time to time, some political news that'll give you a little bit of Schadenfreude, and just a little grin, a little chuckle. And we got one such piece of news today in the form of Trump's former acting DNI, Rick Grinnell.
This White House press secretary is terrible. And yet we won't talk about it in the media or in Washington, D.C. because she's black and lesbian.
I don't think that you can be the director of national intelligence or the acting director of national intelligence, or maybe the head of, I was going to say the CIA, but maybe maybe that's not true, and not believe in God.
If you are a person on the internet, you might know Rick Grinnell. I used to work with him back in the Romney campaign. He is an interesting character, to say the least. He is ornery. He was, I guess there's a debate about whether he was removed from the Romney campaign. I think he quit the Romney campaign actually after a round of stories about him and his behavior on Twitter, where he was making inappropriate jokes at reporters, and then he ended up leaving the Romney campaign before there could be any discipline, and then he attacked the Romney campaign. Look, it's a guy that has pretty unhinged past. I should say he's openly gay. I've known him for a little while, and he likes to get credit for being the first openly gay acting, not confirmed, member of the cabinet when Trump made him acting DNI. So he stuck with MAGA. He stuck with MAGA so hardcore that despite being, kind of a former neocon Republican foreign policy guy back in the Romney time. So when he worked for Romney, he was just a standard neocon Republican, but makes the full pivot to MAGA nationalism or whatever. And then in 2020, he earns Trump's favor by going all in and on helping him push the Stop the Steal, the false narrative about the election, along with Matt Schlapp, who runs CPAC. He and Schlapp went out to Nevada, where they pushed just nonsense about the fact that there might be fraud in the state. Let's play a couple of clips from that. Here's Grenell at the press conference.
The Harry Reid machine recklessly threw ballots into the mail, and now we cannot check.
Now you get a taste of what we're talking about here. And then here's Grenell talking to Jacob Soboroff at MSNBC after the press conference.
Hey, Rick Grinnell, we're live on MSNBC right now. Can you talk about the evidence? You are claiming thousands of illegitimate votes here in Nevada. What's the evidence?
You should go in and ask the question of the clerk.
No.
Which you haven't
You
done
guys
yet,
just made the claim. No, in fact, you also said there's no election observers. There's Democratic and Republican election observers inside, Mr. Grinnell. Former DNI Grenell, acting DNI. Where's the evidence of the fraud? You haven't presented any evidence of fraud.
Where's the evidence?
They've presented no evidence of fraud, Craig. So we're live on MSNBC. You've said thousands of illegitimate ballots. Thousands of illegitimate ballots. Where are they? Where's the Matt Schlapp? Where are the illegitimate ballots? Where are the illegitimate ballots?
Fox News sucks.
So thousands of illegitimate ballots is what they're alleging. They've presented literally no evidence of that, and they're saying go to the county here to ask them of that. We know for a fact there are Democratic and Republican election observers inside. Careful behind you there. And the reality is, Craig, what they have said here is supported by virtually no facts. From what we have seen on the ground here, inside this facility, there is an observation happening. I spoke to an election observer this morning, and they have now said they are filing in federal court a lawsuit to stop counting of ballots. They didn't say all ballots. They said stop the counting of improper ballots.
Not a lot to say there from old Rick, because they didn't have anything, I mean, sure, were there a couple of examples of fraud? Like anytime, like there's an election, can you find 2 or 3 examples of questionable situations need to be investigated, etc.? Sure. I mean, like there are plenty of examples of MAGA election fraud. I love to recount the time that I had a MAGA family friend talked about how they voted for their child via mail-in ballot, and how I was like, you just realized you just admitted to election fraud. The child was out of college, so there just wasn't anything on the scale that they were trying to claim, and And those claims about fraud led to, well, we all know. But the good part about this thing for Grenell is that he maintained in good standing in the Trump circle. And he had some events with Melania down at Mar-a-Lago, some log cabin events, and, staying in close with the family and positioning himself to get his dream job, Secretary of State, if Trump won again. As you know, if you've been paying attention, Trump picked Marco Rubio for that job. Well, the delicious news that I've been excited to share with you is today in a political story, they revealed kind of the behind the scenes of Grenell not getting that job. Stories by Natalie Allison and Meredith McGraw. The best part of this story, though, is as follows. There had been a bunch of MAGA influencers online that were promoting Grenell for this job. Around that same time, an associate of Grenell approached conservative social media influencers, according to two people with knowledge of the situation, offering paid contracts of as much as 5 figures to post favorably about Grenell. Nobody's paying me for my tweets. One such contract, the contract itself, obtained by Politico, outlined that the reporter would do so, outlined that the influencer would do so during peak posting times. I don't know when that is. That's Sunday night? Is that Sunday night peak posting time? After you've had a few pops, is that peak posting time? I don't know when peak posting time is. That they must appear genuine. Don't have to be genuine, just got to appear genuine. It's a lower bar. And it could not appear as an overt advertisement or promotional message. So this dude, who has totally sucked up to Trump, went all in on the Stop the Steal, is down in Mar-a-Lago, changed his foreign policy views, anything to get this job. Apparently he's got some friends out there, some associates. We don't exactly know how this was coordinated or funded. But some of his associates are out there with a contract offering people to post on his behalf in order to help him get this job. And yet even still, Trump said, nope, I'm going for little Marco. Little Marco, big lifts. Little Marco is getting the job. And I gotta say, that's pretty amusing. That's pretty amusing. Who knows? I mean, not so amusing. Who knows? Rick might come back in some other role. Rick's making some money on the outside. He's had some deals with Kushner in the Middle East. So, you don't need to cry for Rick Grinnell here. But it is just, I think, very telling into this MAGA world. And into the corruptibility of it, and into kind of the eternal sadness of it, that, you would pay some people to tweet about you in the hopes that Mr. Trump might see it, and one of his associates might see it. Oh, hey, Mr. Trump, I printed out this page of tweets for you. Look at all the people tweeting about Rick. Trump's like, nah. We'll go for Marco. So that's it. Rick Grinnell doesn't get the gig. Tough cookies. We'll have more. We'll have more. These are just like, it's like little amuse-bouche for you. It's just little tasters here and there. When there are things that are worth chuckling over. We all need that. If you're here watching political YouTube news, you need that. I need it. I need to give it. I can't just be doing sadness all the time, I can't just be doing dire alarm, There's got to be a little joie de vivre. All right. That's it. Subscribe to the page if you want more like that, more where that came from. Go look at the Dinesh D'Souza video if you haven't watched that one. That one's even more embarrassing for Dinesh. I mean, that one is delicious. Humiliating. Go check out the Dinesh D'Souza video. And we'll be back here. We got good guests of the podcast coming up. So much good stuff. Subscribe to the feed. Tell your friends. We'll see you soon.